to produce the power. If they get that, then I would anticipate at some point following that, they will file applications. My advice, if you haven't heard anything and you're wanting to know whether or not something's filed, is just reach out to our office. If you go on the county website under the Area Plan Commission section, my email is there, or you can certainly call. And if you just ask, hey, has anything been filed? That's all public record. So we'll be more than happy to tell you if something's been filed or if it's docketed for hearing. Once something is filed, a sign will have to be placed on the potential site at least 10 days ahead of the hearing. So watch for that if you see a sign. And then neighbors that are within 600 foot of the proposed area will actually receive a personal letter as well. So those are other things that you can watch for that would indicate a formal process is starting. And certainly, on the Area Plan Commission side, I would anticipate there'll be a lot of people that will want to have a part in those conversations if and when they occur. So we'll make sure we have adequate space, and we would appreciate people letting us know they plan to come, just so we can get some gauge of how much room we need to provide to make sure that the process can be transparent and people can make sure our boards know what they think. And then our board would recommend to the county commissioners when it gets to that point. So you've got a multiple step process, but if you're wanting to know where it is, your quickest thing is just to reach out to our office, and we can tell you whether or not anything has actually started moving.
And what's your name?
My name's Liz Stitzel. I'm the Area Plan Commission Director. You don't necessarily need to talk to me. Any of my staff would also know whether or not something's been filed. I know you're interested in this case, but we deal with a lot of cases all the time, so they'll be aware of what's on the agendas.
May I ask a question? You said they might not even get approval from, was it an acronym or what?
It's MISO, and to be honest, I don't know exactly what it stands for. Some in here may, but there's larger cooperatives that determine where power goes on the grid.
So how do you look that up?
I don't know. Is it a private or a governmental? I'm not even sure. It's federal.
I don't know, but it's basically who controls the power grid.
Yeah.
So if we contacted you, you could give us that information?
I don't know that any of us have it. They're much higher level than anything. If you can't get permission to put power on the grid, like you as a landowner couldn't just decide to throw your power on the grid. You need to
on the grid, it might be nice to know.
Yeah, I would recommend if you look online. I've never talked to anybody from that group. My understanding is they're federal level, and all they look at is, can the grid accept capacity or can it not? It's a physical problem.
Which is the first thing you said was probably.
If the grid can't accept capacity in that area, then it's so, but I just know it's called MISO. Unfortunately, we don't have any interaction or input in, or even knowledge. It's considered national security issues, how grids work and where that stuff goes. So I can't speak to that.
I want to make two comments to Mrs. Aki's comments. The first one, you mentioned us as elected officials, and I think one of our most important jobs is, regardless if it's an alternative energy project, commercial, residential development, that we at least at the beginning have an open mind. And I understand that it affects you. So, but don't take us at least listening to the info as a check mark that we're for it or against it. I think that's what we have to do up here, is consume the information, hear opinions like yours, and then if it ever gets to the point to make a decision, make the decision. So don't, I guess what I've told people when they've called me is they say vote no, and one, we're not even at a point where I would have a vote, and two, I can't tell you that I'm going to vote no, because I at least have to be open-minded and hear it up front. It doesn't mean I'm for it by any means. And then the second comment I think that you brought up was a good point, is I'm an advocate of landowners' rights. However, when we have outside investors that own land in Clinton County and then decide to bastardize it in this manner, that's a different thing than local landowners that choose to sell it for a purpose. And so comparing this project to Hardy Hills, to me, are two separate things. And so I will kind of leave it at that for my comments. I don't know if Commissioner Weaver wants to add anything or not. So.
Well, I, like you, Jordan, have gotten many emails and many phone calls. And like you say, so early in the stage, there's not an answer yet. At least we're listening and looking and so forth. I can tell you there's a lot of hills they need to climb over. And, I don't know if they'll get there or not.
Well, I, for one, feel much better now than I did when you don't know what's going on, mountains or molehills become mountains. But I am hearing some positive things from you, so I think as long as we can stay in communication, that's gonna be the best thing for all of us.
I can tell you, I live less than 500 yards from the Hardy Hills solar panels, and regretfully, they have a lot of issues they've had to work on, overcome. I don't know if you can hear the driving of the stakes in Rossville, but you can hear them quite often. It's, it's coming along out there. They've had major issues that they've had to overcome even as a company. And so far, they have they've hit it head on. They've at least doing the best they can to make it work. It doesn't make any difference. It's a big project, and in a big project, you have a lot of big problems that come up, but so far they have addressed it well.
The last thing you would ask a question about communication with the Rossville Town Board. I have not had any direct communication, but I'd be more than willing to. So if you know members on the board, they can reach out, cell phone, email, be glad to talk to them throughout the process.
Same with me.
Okay, any other comments regarding proposed, I don't even know if it's proposed at this point, fantasy solar farm out in Rossville? Okay, none. Any other public comments?
No, you're not gonna wanna hear this, but
I know, probably not, I'll be honest. I'm tired of it, to be,
So I'm here to talk about the animal control and what's going on with animal control. And just recently, not recently, actually, it's been ongoing for 13 months. There was a man on our street who was arrested for animal neglect and cruelty. He had at one point in September 2nd, 2022, he had 17 cats in a cage outside, which we did call about. We were informed at that time that he had downsized from 100 cats and he was allowed to have 37 cats. And they also told us that they were vetted and that they were monitoring them on a regular basis. This was not just me that heard this conversation. It was my husband and my daughter. We were all in the conversation together. Recently, there are now only, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 cats in that cage. And I know the others didn't leave alive. The cage is probably got 3 to 6 inches of feces in it. And I know that it's now in the hands of Don Stock and Rodney Wan. They took action. I know they've given them time to clean up. They've also told the Humane Society, animal control, or the animal control, to clean it up. That has to be cleaned up. I guess we're zoned as a and B. I don't know exactly what that means, but something to the effect that we're only allowed to have 3 to 4 small animals in town. No kennels. There aren't, unless you have a kennel license, which he doesn't have. Again, I'm back to where the defining of animal control when it comes to, we are giving as a county over $100,000 to animal control, when a year ago, 13 months ago, this was how animal control handled the situation. And they have taken some of the animals. They can't take them all at once. I understand that. But they've had 13 months to go take that. We've talked to board members, and board members have said they cannot legally take the animals. So I guess I don't understand, again, where animal control is if they're not legally allowed to take the animals that are in a neglect abuse case, then who is?
So obviously you don't like how animal control is being done today. I think that's a fair assessment based on the conversations we've had.
Yes, I don't like how it's
So
being done, but I also don't like how, I don't understand, again, the money that we're given is allocated as animal control. So is it money given to just the Humane Society as a whole for them to just do however they want? Or is there restrictions to it? That's our question as people I've been talking to.
Well, I don't know if there's restrictions. It's based on what the contract that we're currently in or have been in for years says. But I'm gonna go back to my question is, or where I was going is if you're unhappy with it, which you are, and I'm not saying they're doing a good job or they aren't, I'm just listening to the information, bring us a proposed change of how it can be done better for us to consider, because I'm open to that. The way we've been doing it isn't necessarily the best way, and it obviously, I mean, we get a lot of complaints about it.
Well, I know that the sheriff's department and the police department have both stepped up and said, we'll do it, we just need a facility to do it in. Because
I've never heard that from either one, so.
I had at the county, at the city meeting, Scott Shoemaker actually stood up and talked about that.
Well, that's perfect. The city can take over all of this.
Yeah.
Because honestly, all the problems are in the city. I don't get one complaint from a county resident. I mean, I literally have never had a complaint for someone in the county, because if there's animal control problems in the county, people take care of them.
Right.
So, I mean, that's just the reality of it. So it sounds like to me, it's a city problem, not a county problem.
I understand, but the city is also in the county, so it's,
72% of the calls are from the city.
I get that.
72% of the animals taken are from the city.
But the city is also in the county, so,
I agree.
but I guess I don't understand how you guys don't talk and figure that out. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense to me. We're all one.
Let's back up. For
Okay.
quite some time, the city did not contribute to anything.
Right.
And so this particular year, the first year, I went to the city and agreed to have them participate with a $50,000 amount this year. The facts are the same as Tippecanoe County, Tipton County, Howard County, all of them are full. And we have a serious problem with cats. Our unit itself is loaded. We cannot take any more cats right now. There is no room at the inn. So we got two choices. Either we shoot the cats, which I can tell you there would be 75% of people out here because we're killing cats, more so than this. So the answer is like everybody else. They have more cats and not enough funding to take care of it. And it's been this situation for quite some time. I have been with the Humane Society or animal control people and talked to them, and we're working on a contract. We're trying to fix things, but it's a huge problem, not a little problem. The other problem is wildcats, and somebody that has wildcats, they can't control them at all. We don't want to have our people get ate up alive by a cat that's going crazy. They can't keep them in cages. They can't feed them. So the cats are a serious problem. That's including then the dogs themselves too. So both of those are issues that we have. There's no easy fix. So they don't have the room. They don't have the shelter. So for us to pick them up and take care of them just like somebody else is where we're at right now.
Right.
So until we increase some things, and I don't know if you've noticed, but they've tried to advertise more. They've tried to push it more. There've been other fundraisers for them and so forth. They're doing the best they can. And I would be more than welcome to suggest any of you that want to participate and help a little bit, I would be more than glad to offer that phone call to the president and see what we can do. I spoke to him last night. I don't know if the gentleman that you're talking to with the complaint, I got the same complaint yesterday or the day before, and how he's been arrested several times before for animal cruelties and so forth. And you're right, they're right. They can't, if you want to paint your house brown and this person wants to paint it blue, there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. You can't go in and just compensate somebody's animals because you think that he's not taken care of. You got to go to court, got to spend money, and then we get a 5-day, the judge is going to say, well, you got 5 days to clean it up, or you got 30 days to clean it up. Well, how's that going to happen? There's nobody within a 100-mile radius that can do any different than what we're doing right now. No county that touches us is doing any different than what we're doing right now. And there's a big issue, and I don't know where we're going to end up with this. One of the things is we have them euthanized, and then how soon do you do that and so forth. The majority of the people that I say don't want to have animals euthanized. So at this point, I'm not sure what we do. You can tell me how we do it.
Well, unfortunately, I've been in that situation where I did work there, and that was the choice that we had to make. And that was because we had animals stacked up, and unfortunately that is because people in the county, city, county, wherever, are irresponsible and don't do what they're supposed to do with their animals. So that's on a lot of people. But I guess mine was, this was 13 months in the taking, and they specifically told us that they were being monitored and watched and taken care of. And then it got to the point where it was so escalated so bad that, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of this place at all, but, don't tell me they're being taken care of if you're not gonna do that. So, you tell me, hey, there's nothing we can do about it, you gotta go to court, that's one thing. But to tell me, we're taking care of it, we're monitoring it, we're making sure that they're vetted, and we're making sure that he's making sure they didn't have so many animals, he's only allowed to have this many, that's one thing. But to tell me and other people that it's being taken care of and it's not, that's where I take issue.
I don't know who you're talking to, so I don't know who they are, but
The director of
I
the
can tell you
Humane
that we as a county have been involved now for 2 months.
This was
trying-
the
But even this specific situation, we just learned about it, last evening.
Yep.
in email.
Well,
So,
I
I
came to
referenced,
you guys in March and I mentioned it then.
Mhm.
So, and that was
I wish I could remember everything.
the
that
same
was-
situation, it was in,
I just
one of the
don't.
guys wrote a story about it, in the paper, but that was in March. It was in September that I actually called and posted September 2nd of 2022. So this was the director of the Humane Society telling me all this, telling us all this, it wasn't just me. And that's where I take issue. And it's like,
But your issue is with the Humane Society.
right, as animal control.
Okay.
So that's where it comes down to. And that's where, again, where I'm just saying is like, where's the definition? What does that mean? Is animal control able to do anything, take legal action on anything? The county wants to know, they make all these accusations, you see it all over Facebook all the time, that they won't do this, they won't do this, they won't do this, they can't do this. Okay, that's okay. If that's the case, then it needs to be made, okay, we're giving this money as this, but that doesn't mean they can do this or they can do this. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not,
Well, I'm sort of, but at the
I'm
same-
not trying to,
I'm sort of, but like I said, 2 months, 3 months is all that the county's really be involved with this. Number one, like I said before, it's a money issue. Nobody's putting enough money to get there.
Right.
Number two, it's an employee issue because we can't get people to do it. So both of those are. Number three, and it's a good thing for all of us, do not believe what you read in Facebook. If you've got questions, then you need to call somebody else. I can show you all kinds of things that get in Facebook. I can tell you that I'm an astronaut and I'm getting ready to go to the moon tomorrow, and you want to go with me. You know what I mean? There's two sides to
I do
the
understand
story.
what you're saying, but I also get personal phone calls still because I work there. So it's not, yes, it's on Facebook, and yes, I shouldn't leave everything Facebook, and I don't. I'm not saying that, but when, I get the phone calls, or someone I know that used to work there gets the phone calls and says, they're not doing this, and I even hear from some police officers, just like, we have our hands tied, there's nothing we can do. My only thing, and we're kind of getting on a page where I feel like we're being defensive, and that's not what I want. That's not where I'm going. I'm not saying the Humane Society is not doing a great job. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what is animal control? What is this money allocated for? I've been coming here since March. That's when I first came to you about that. So it's been 7 months, not just 2 months. It's been 7 months since I talked about
I believe, Commissioner, you had sent you the agreement that was in place, right?
the ordinance.
He sent you the ordinance. Did he send you the contract?
No, he just sent me a picture of the
We'll get
ordinance.
you a copy of it, and you can read through it. But that's what, first trying to redo it, we inherited an agreement that's been
And I
in
did
place
tell
for
Don
X amount of
to
years.
call you, Don Stuff.
Don can call me anytime.
Yeah, because he's having issues. He's trying to get ordinances redone also, but, there's a lot going on. It's not just the animals, it's the whole house and living situation that the man is in. So, that's where he ends up coming into that, so.
Okay.
But at that point, 11, 13 months ago, they tried to get the animal control ends to help out, and they refused. And I'll let you talk to Don about that, but, He just said, he threw his hands up in the air and said, I'm done, forget
They used to,
So,
Jeannie Newhart used to come in and give us treasurer reports. Is she still on the
it.
board?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
Because I wonder if you could get more of the information for financials from her.
Okay.
Alright.
Well,
we have a lot to get to, so
I
I'm
understand.
gonna move on
I
from
understand.
animal control. I will still keep Bird's working on it, it just doesn't happen overnight, and I'll leave the question out there. If you have changes that you think will help, please bring those to us
Okay.
to consider, because I think we're open to new ideas here, because it doesn't sound like what's happening is working.
Sorry.
Okay, with that, we have Dave Jones, Town of Mulberry. You're up. Good morning, Dave.
Say,
Mulberry. Just wanted to answer any questions or concerns that the commissioners have about the planned Dollar General development on the west side of Mulberry. There's been some feedback that Mulberry does not want it, which is not the case. We did vote to extend our utilities to the Dollar General. We worked with the developer on stuff that we want above and beyond UDO, thanks to Liz and the Area Planning Commission. We have everything kind of set in stone. But the last step, we need commissioners and the drainage board. So I just want to answer any questions or concerns that the commissioners have.
Do you have any, Bird? Go ahead. I don't. Dave and I have talked, he was at the APC meeting, so we've had a couple conversations. And
I've had more positive than negative that I've had reach out to me.
Okay.
I personally think it's an excellent idea. I personally think for many people to drive all the way to Lafayette or Frankfurt to get a loaf of bread or a gallon of milk, it would more suit it to be right there in Mulberry. It's my opinion that the area plan and Liz and all of the people who have been listening to going to the meetings are going to continue to make sure that compliance is there. And in my opinion is the compliance is a big issue. You do have to make sure that certain things are done, drainage is okay and that sort of stuff. But past that, I've not had any major complaints other than it's got to go through the process.
Yeah.
And so to be honest, once it goes through the process and Mr. Jordan here, obviously being on the area plan, has heard those things and he's doing his job and you're doing your job. So it's just got to go through the steps at this point in time. So personally, I would be for it if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
But I've not been to those meetings because that's Jordan's job to do.
Yeah, I just had, at the last commission meeting, there was some discussion about, there was some negative comments that they didn't want this, and we hadn't really got to that point yet, because Jordan, I was at the Area Planning Commission meeting when they did approve it, but of course it has to go to drainage board. So drainage board didn't meet till after that commissioners meeting, so you couldn't vote on it anyway. But there was quite a good discussion, so I just wanted to clarify, the town of Mulberry is 100% behind the
I have no questions at all at this point. I think it's just got to go through its normal stages and plans. And, you know, when it does that, you know, it'll fit, or if it doesn't, then we'll make those changes
Yes.
that need to be based on whichever recommendations come to us.
Okay.
So, you know, we'll do our job. And if there's a drainage issue, then I can tell you we'll address the drainage issue and say this won't work because of this or this. But that's why we have managers and department heads that give us those things. And at this point, you know, there's not been a need to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Dave?
No.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's get out here. Next, we have Adam Lucas with a fire extinguisher contract. So just to kind of preface, I think Commissioner Ewitz maybe has been working with you, or at least internally for us, has been working on this, and he's obviously not here, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to do anything with it. And I haven't seen the contract, so if you have a proposed one for us to look at, please send it, but I'll give you an opportunity if you want to speak a little bit.
Yep, so just a little bit about me. I'm Adam Lucas with Aspire and Safety. I've been a Clinton County resident for 15 or 20 years now. I'm also on the fire department here in Frankfurt. I purchased R&S extinguishers in 2022. So again, my name is Adam Lucas. I own Lucas Fire and Safety, which is formerly R&S Extinguishers, and prior to that, operated by the Frankfurt Fire Department. Our business has been owned and operated locally for over 50 years, which where we invested in our community. We have serviced the county properties for roughly 20 years. An annual inspection and service for all county properties until this year, due to losing Parkview Home. I'm growing I'm a growing business and teamed up with another family-owned small business to make sure we can offer all things life safety, fire and life safety. I myself take care of all the extinguishers and emergency lighting, and my other company services fire alarms, hood systems, and sprinkler systems. I this year alone donated all extinguishers to the Clinton County Fair, Summer Demo Derby, and Fall Demo Derby. As far as hanging fire extinguishers when the fair comes in, I go out there with my boys, and we go out and we hang between 5 and 7 fire extinguishers around the property to make sure that everyone is safe. I don't charge the county a dime for any of this. This year, it was roughly $400 that I accrued the expense of whether it's a discharge fire extinguisher to the demo derby, my time, and then for the fall derby also, roughly around $400 that I took care of because I want to see our community safe while we're out there with these events. My prices are very fair and reasonable for where we live. Again, I'm a local small business and I want to treat everyone as a small business. I take care of service calls when an extinguisher gets discharged or a building with an exit light does not illuminate, usually within 24 hours. Just so you guys are aware, left this year, EMA is due still. The courthouse and the coroner's office are 3 properties that I have left to take care of this year, and I have paperwork that shows you what the averages and expenses are. I'm really coming near today because I've heard a lot of talk of switching to large corporations to take over fire safety locally. The difference between me and a large corporation is they hire someone off the streets who comes in and does their job and leaves. I'm also a state certified fire inspector. So when I come into a property like I take care of the airport, I'm looking at everything and I'm verifying that everyone that's in that property is going to be safe to 100%. I want to make sure everyone's taken care of. So I'm just going to introduce myself because there has been a name change. People don't know who I am. They might have heard RNS Extinguishers. We still have fire extinguishers dropped off at the fire station, wanting to be serviced. So I am the new company in town. I'm on McKinley Avenue. If anyone has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer all questions.
Okay. Commissioner Weaver, you have it?
Well, like Mr. Brewery said at the beginning, I think we are under the impression, obviously, that Josh is going to be your go-to guy. And obviously with him being a fireman also,
Yes.
knows a little more about it than what we know. So my suggestion is that Adam, you get with Josh, set up a time. The problem is he's real busy right now, as you know. And obviously this next couple of weeks is a busy time, but I reach out to him and simply say, I want to get on board. What I would suggest that we do is make sure that some of these other places don't change and go with the larger corporation thinking that that's what they can do at this point in time. So I reach out to Josh and I'm sure he's going to be finding out tonight or tomorrow what we talked about and stuff. So my suggestion is that you get with Josh and pinpoint those that are still on the contract for those that still need to be done by you. And then obviously then get us a new pricing for next year. Obviously, as you said, Parkview's already been changed. I'm not sure where that stands. So we'll need to get with Josh to look at the contract that they have, and I've not seen it, so I don't know.
Do you have a contract you can send us?
I've been thinking a lot about contracts, and I've been looking at a lot of fire safety contracts. They're very wishy-washy because they give you usually 30 or 40 days notice, and you can cancel a contract at any time. All I ask is for transparency. If you guys are looking to switch, I'm cool. I mean, it's life safety. It's what you have to do to make sure everybody's safe. But just call and ask, hey, this is their price. Can you do better? I mean,
Yeah, and I don't
that's
think
what it's
anyone's
all about.
looking to
Yeah.
switch or anything,
Yeah.
so don't take that as.
No, yeah,
So.
I've just been contacted by different property maintenance or heads that, hey, do you know that this company's that's been in here walking around, and are they part of your company? No, they're not part of my company, but I'll take care of you. You don't worry about anything. Like I said, turnaround time is huge because it goes back down to being safe and property for everybody. And my turnaround times are way faster because I'm local. I have 3 other part-time guys, so if I can't take care of it, that instant, let's say while I'm at the fire station, I have 3 other guys that can get things taken care of just as fast. Whether it's a discharge fire extinguisher, and I bring one of my own spares into the property or whatever it is.
Okay.
I just want someone to be, talk if someone's not happy.
We'll talk to Josh, see where he's at with it, and go from there.
Okay.
Appreciate you
Thank you for your time.
giving us an update.
Awesome, thank you.
You got a card?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, next up is Don Layton.
Good morning.
Good
I'll
morning,
give
Dawn.
the paperwork to you guys afterwards.
Okay.
So for those of you that don't know, I work at the Poplar Resource Center, and we actually have been running a public transportation system here in Clinton County for over 20 years. And we're starting our 20th year. You guys know that's like a long time. So the background to that is that the county commissioners are our go-between entity for funding. So basically, if the commissioners didn't agree to have a public transportation system here in the county, we would not have that. So kudos to them for allowing us to have that so many years ago. With that being said, federal funding wise, Jordan, just to let you know, like you'll probably be getting our new grant agreement coming out soon, and that was kind of a cumbersome process in the past. They promised us that it's going to be easier this year. Hopefully you just have to log into something and sign it electronically. The other part is that we're getting ready to be, like next year will be compliance year for us. So with that, there's a lot of like extra stuff that we have to do, like lots of documents that we have to submit and provide to NDOT, which then goes on to the federal level to make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to do as far as compliance, drug testing, all the stuff that we do for our programs. But one of those is, Jordan, last year you signed like this really long document at the end of the year, which was kind of like a checklist to make sure that we're in compliance with you guys. Basically saying that we, turn our quarterly reports in on time, that we're giving you copies of our audits, all those kind of things. But one of the things that we kind of failed to do last year was that they required that we have a site visit from you guys. So I don't know if one of you would be willing before the end of the year to come out and just spend a little bit of time with me, look at our vehicles, just look at our facility, just make sure that we're doing everything that we're supposed to be doing.
I'm sure we can arrange that.
You plan to do that?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure we will. Just
Okay.
If you get with me.
Right, and I'll give you the information that we have to check off. All right. Thanks, guys. That's all I need.
Okay, great, thank you. Next, I have Renee Crick with the Solacom answering position contract, right?
Yes, yes. So before your last meeting, I forwarded you the contract, and you should, Jordan, already have it from, in digital, in DocuSign, and Britt, I've got a printed copy of the contract. So this is, I'm going to utilize funds. As you know, we received an extra lit, some extra lit money. And so part of the portion that will come to Central Dispatch, I'm going to use $31,236.94. And this is to purchase the phone position, as we are adding another position in 2024. So this will take care of the entire phone position with the mapping and a telephone, the 911, all of that. So I'm just looking for your official approval. Wanted to go ahead and at least get this started.
Yeah.
And get it ordered, since it kind of takes some time.
Commissioner, are there any questions?
I have none.
Okay, you have a motion to approve this Solacom answering.
Approved. I so moved, so made.
Motion carries 2-0. They have them resend it because
Okay.
they sent it before, and obviously I couldn't sign it because we didn't have our
Yes,
meeting.
yes.
I think the link expires.
Okay,
So-
I'll email him and have him resend that.
I'll get it.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Do you have anything else for me? I don't have anything for you, I don't believe.
I don't think I
No.
do.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Oh, real quick question.
Yes.
How's our girl in hospital or out? What's the?
She just got out of the hospital this week and has been moved to rehab. So after 50-some days in the hospital and many of those in ICU, she's been moved to rehab. So
Good.
yes, doing,
Tell her we're thinking of.
yes, yes.
next up, Liz Stitzel with area plan update. Do you have anything this morning, Liz?
Other than the old business later, I don't think I have anything unless you have something for me.
No, we'll wait. I think we'll bring you in on Mr. Moore's once we get there, so we'll go there. Rick with the county highway update. Good morning.
Morning. I'm going to start off with that road project that had been completed, and we got our bill for that. And it was $1,300,000. $1,300,000 $90,066.14. It was a $1.5 million project, and we got it for 1.3, more or less.
Fantastic.
And Bridge 67, the deck was poured a couple weeks ago. They've been working on the ditches and the road, getting the road ready to pave the approaches. Having November 15th completion date for that, more or less. And our two loaders are in, our two new loaders came in. They came out last week to look at the old loaders to appraise them. So I should be hearing something next week or maybe this week about that. We may get those a little early.
Yeah.
And I heard from our truck salesman, and we are on schedule to get a truck in December, and the others should follow shortly after. And that's, our pipes that are multi-plate pipes that the commissioners approved this summer. One of them will be coming in 31st of October, and we're going to put it together November 14th, and depending on weather, we'll try to get it put in.
That's the replacement for the bridge, right?
Yes.
It's kind of that modular
Yes,
setup. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And that's pretty much all I got right now.
We got one thing for you, which we'll take a motion and move forward with it. It was from Asphalt Materials, the liquid asphalt contract. It's extending it from 23 to 24 with, I believe, no price increase, correct?
Yes.
So,
Motion to approve.
all right, motion carries 2-0 on that. So Jerry will get you a copy of this.
Thank you.
So. Okay, I'm gonna take a moment and pause here in case you're more than welcome to stay. But I know it's kind of awkward how we move around the room here, so if you would like to leave, give you the opportunity. If you would like to stay, you're more than welcome. We got quite a few more things, so I figured this would be a good chance if anyone would like to walk out. So I'll take a few seconds here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Watch the party.
Okay.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll move on to our old business, and we have the property and forest of Mr. Morris that was supposed to be heard at our last meeting. We've given the kind of time frame deadline, and obviously that was postponed until today. So I guess I will first up have Liz and possibly Rodney speak to where it stands, so we can kind of decide moving forward.
We're all trying to die here. That's what's happening. All right, so Kat did go out and just get some updated pictures, which I'll just give to you. You actually, one of these shows one of the sections that the inspector is concerned about an engineer looking at. In terms of overall update with where you guys were at, Mr. Moore did get soils tests, which were submitted to the health department, and the health department did release minimum specs. That's been about 2 weeks ago. There's been no contact from an installer and no septic permit being reviewed or issued. The septic permit is required in order to move forward. From an area plan commission perspective, just in terms of general advice, there's kind of seems to be two choices, whether you want to continue to sit on this and see if you get the septic permit and where that goes, or if you want to go ahead and start a process of citation moving toward condemnation, because the first step would be for us to
post and send your letter, which would give a 30-day time period for compliance, at which point you could reconsider whether to put fines in the form of tax liens or whether to actually condemn. So there's a bit of a process, so it's kind of up to you. He has gotten the soil test, but there's been no other forward movement. And there has been a couple weeks in which he could have hired an installer and they could be in contact with the health department, knowing that this is an urgent matter. So I don't have any other update in terms of specifically the condemnation of the house. We do have a number of complaints in for us that we're working with, so just, as that comes out, this is not the only one, it's just the only one that's been dragging on this long. The others have either complied or are scheduled for court dates at the moment.
I think that one started, this one started 2018?
I believe so, yes, originally, yeah, because the commissioners did at one time, you had begun to deal with it before, and then
Rodney, do you have anything you would like to add?
I just checked with my septic individual this morning, and indeed, we did issue them in specs, and I asked if we had any plans submitted so far, and there has not been one. I think to what the Mr. Nash said was that the individual was looking to try to do it himself, so, but we haven't had any contact with anyone with a plan.
Okay.
If we get one, obviously, then we would have acted upon it, so.
All right, Mr. Moore, I'll give you the opportunity here.
Right, yeah, well, I mean, I've never had to do this before, so I don't know what procedures is. I did get, I do the soil sample as you requested, and I've never heard nothing back from anybody about the soil sample, so I didn't know where we were at with it and how long it would take. And I'm not condemning my house. The structure of that house is in better shape than most around. I mean, it's been restored inside, floors, walls. I mean, my neighbor replaced all the floors in their house where they were rotted without a building permit.
But hold on, I don't care about any of all the other stuff going on. We're talking about this specific matter. And you had a time, I believe it was either the 1st of September or end of August when we started down this process.
Right.
And we gave you till October 6th to
And I
get
got
this
that
stuff in
done.
play.
I got the sample. I called everybody that she gave me on the list. 2 people out of what, 12 or 14 on that list contacted me back. One was almost a month later. So I finally got a guy to come out and do the test. I mean, it wasn't easy. They didn't just like call me right back that next day or even answer the phone. When they don't call you back, there's nothing you can do.
You go find somebody else.
I called everybody on the list.
You can go outside the list. It's not our job to provide you with the people to do the work.
Not the work, just do the soil test.
That is
And
the
I
work.
got it done.
That's the work.
Where do we go now? What septic system will we put in? Or why haven't you guys done like a few of the communities north of us and filed for a grant to get a water treatment plant put in?
I don't even think that that's
It is
ever
possible.
consideration.
It should be.
Why
considering we're
is
gonna
that?
take our right to use the county tile away from us.
How, I'm not even sure I follow. How are we taking your right away from using the county?
Because it's on my deeds and stuff, that's one of the amenities, is electrical, hookups, and septic.
I don't even follow what you're trying to
Everybody
tell
in
me.
town uses the same county tile, everybody.
In what town?
Everybody in Forest.
They have their
Everybody uses the
existing
county tiles.
septic.
Nobody has the septics.
They have no septics? I'm sure they have a
County
tank.
tiles, yes.
Okay. But once you're grandfathered in and you've been able to keep up your property, that's
At
different than the
2018 was
situation.
grandfathered in?
No.
Why not? I've owned it, I'm paying
There,
taxes.
there is no grandfathering of septic systems
There
in the
you
state
go.
of
So
Indiana.
everybody in town is gonna have to replace their,
No.
put septic.
And then your comment that everyone's on tile is not true. There are several that have been replaced out there.
A handful out of how many?
I can't do the raw numbers right here sitting without a file, but I can tell you we handle every project the same. If the system fails, or if you're doing some sort of an addition and that requires a bedroom, or if you're doing a total remodel, you are then required to then
Mine's not a
upgrade.
total remodel.
Yours is a total remodel.
it's gutted.
We're talking about condemning it, so it's a total remodel.
You can't, have you ever been in my house?
I haven't been in the home, no,
That's the whole
because I
point
would
I'm
have,
getting at.
I'd have to seek your
I've
permission.
had 2 of your county building inspectors come in my house, and the first one was astonished that.
But they said it wasn't habitable.
Huh?
They said it was not habitable.
Sure it is.
That's your opinion. I'm gonna
It's
take
your
that opinion.
But it's not.
It's,
The county building inspectors, neither 2 inspectors come out,
Mr.
had
Moore,
any bad words against the house. They said the work that was done in there was good, above necessary.
the recommendation from our area plan office, where the building inspector is that it's not habitable. So that is what I'm gonna value. I'm not gonna value your opinion over theirs. I'm sorry. It's just not
Over
gonna
whose
happen.
opinion?
The building inspector.
This building inspector?
Well, she's not the building inspector. She's
Exactly,
the
the 2
area.
building inspectors come out, I personally talked to. Did you? There you go.
You've received the
All
reports.
right.
The house does have a path to get compliant, but Mr. Moore has not proceeded down that path, and he did
I'm
get,
taking step
the
by
last letter in
step,
June.
and she can stop interrupting me, because this is between me and you.
No, hold on. You're gonna stop right now, because this is my meeting. This isn't your, no, did I say, I didn't say one thing about talking.
It's a public.
It's a public meeting that I run, so I'm in control of it. So we're gonna do it how I wanna do it. If you wanna do this, you're more than welcome to try.
All right.
Okay? No, that means you get to run against me. Is that what that means?
No, you can
Yeah.
move out of the way, like you just said.
No.
You told me I can do it. Did you or did you not?
All right, so we're going down a path that we
Okay,
probably don't need to go on
What's my
here.
next
So
step? What's your
here's where we're
suggestion
at.
for my septic?
Mr. Moore, your time's up for now.
I need to know what my step is for my septic.
We will give you a step here in a minute. So, I told Mr. Cole I would give him an opportunity to speak.
I really don't need to, I think he's pretty much done what he needed to in order to answer all my questions here, so, yeah. Between the 2 of you guys, all my questions have been kind of brought up to the surface, so I'm not gonna take up any more of your time.
Okay, all right, so we have 2 options at this point. We can sit on it like we have since 2018, or we can go down issuing this, voting to go through the citations and the condemnation process, which will take 30 days and has some steps.
and if he complies meanwhile, you have the option of saying those. You don't have to act all the way for a
Correct.
tear down which leads to Rodney letting him know what he needs to do.
I have a couple quick questions. 6 or 7 weeks ago, when we said that we were gonna meet, and then of course, we had the situation where we couldn't meet last week.
Right.
But I specifically remember talking to you about some things that are on your property that have nothing to do with the septic system, but you were to comply with those. One was a fence and one was the junk on the side that was supposedly to be taken care of and moved away. I still see it today. Why is that?
What's
not-
that? The fence?
Roll of fence right there.
I think I'm gonna put it up, but right now, I'm at the point, I don't wanna spend any more money until I get from Rodney where I'm gonna, the septic.
But if you remember, we specifically said you would remove those things.
I moved it onto my property all the way to county right away.
But that's part of the problem. You just can't, just because it's my property, you can't stack up junk or trash that we specifically addressed with each other. I mean, I specifically said you would remove the fence and you remove the trash in the back, and it's still right there. That's 6 weeks later. So it's an eyesore. I mean, it's not, it's not.
Have you drove through the forest?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen grain silos that got tore up?
My argument wasn't with them. I didn't have a conversation with them. But you and I had a conversation that said you would remove that stuff
I did move the fence out of the right of way.
and simply moved it back another foot. Yeah.
It's all
Okay,
right.
I'm ready
It's
to.
all right. I just wanted to figure out how I can get my septic squared away so I can get the house finished.
Well, we're gonna take a vote, and then, because we have 2 options at this point, and we told you those were the 2 options back when we met, end of August, 1st of September. And then you're more than welcome to talk to Rodney, but you're gonna have an approved septic plan turned into it. So that's on you, like every other homeowner in Clinton County. That's the responsibility. He can give you names, this and that, but You have to go find them. You have to do the legwork. You can go outside the names that he gives you. And you're basically gonna, depending how it goes, if we decide to sit on it, or if we go through the citation condemnation, I believe it'll have 30 days, right?
30 days is what we usually give, and then if it hasn't complied, which in this case compliance would be getting a septic permit and a proper plan together and re-getting a building permit. But either way, when you get to the end of that 30 days, then I'd bring it back to you to decide if you want us to give an extension, if you want us to file some kind of tax lien with Tom, or if you want us to put a 10-day condemnation notice, then it will be your choice. Which way. I would recommend, like some others you've dealt with, if it's complying, that you just kind of continue your action if that's the way that you go until the house's construction is complete.
Okay.
It's happening.
I make the motion that we move forward with what we said, the combination of this property. And during that time, he can continue to work, you can continue to try to get it done, but at the same time, we're moving forward. And if it's not done, then, we will continue to go all the way.
All right, motion carries 2-0. All right, new business. We had some quotes. You have this, Jared, just so I can go through them. Quotes to do painting at the fairgrounds. There's a line item with money available for repairs and such there. There was some available, so we have 3 quotes, all from the same painter, 3 different buildings there. The Edward Jones building, $8,250. The roof on the Hog Barn, $5,500, and Clinton Hall for $7,200. So,
have you spoke to any of them
yes.
in reference to this?
Yeah.
And they recommend they
Yeah.
invoice,
Correct. Yeah.
I'll make the motion that we accept them as they are.
All right. Motion carries 2-0. Okay. Next up, we have a resolution 2023-05 approving the amendments to the county TIF area. And we have our RDC president, Alan Dunn here, who I'll turn it over to give an explanation. But we're kind of the third step of 4 steps. The RDC voted to redo the allocation area of the TIF out at 65. It then went to the area plan this morning. Now it comes to the commissioners, and then it'll go back to the RDC if we move forward with it. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alan to kind of give an explanation of how we got there.
Thanks, Commissioner. So because we have some folks in the room that may not be familiar with what we're talking about, so bear with me, I'll give just a little bit of a background. TIF refers to tax increment financing, which is an economic development tool that is available to counties whereby the tax revenue from a given area that is serviced by new infrastructure is allowed to be siphoned off and put off to the side to help pay for that infrastructure. So you might think of it as it's kind of a user tax, so that the people that benefited from new infrastructure, their taxes pay for that infrastructure. So in this case, we're talking about the area between the west side of Frankfort and I-65, where we just put in the new sewer and water pipes. The county established a tax increment financing district so that the taxes generated from the new development can be used to help pay for the installation of the pipes, and thus relieve the existing tax base, you and I, of the burden of having to pay for as much of that infrastructure as possible. So what we have before you here today is a proposal that we modify that TIF area by splitting it, essentially, and creating a second inner, I guess you could almost look at it as a second TIF increment area. The existing one is called the I-65 TIF allocation area. What we're proposing is the State Road 28 corridor infrastructure TIF area. So basically, as you think about this geographically, what it would represent is essentially the area that's coterminous with the area proposed to be annexed by the city of Frankfort at the beginning of 2024. So the reason that we're proposing to do this is to get better in line the bonds that we issued for the sewer and water pipes, which were amortized over a 35-year period. Tax increment finance districts have a 25-year limit. Ours is already 9 years old. So by carving this out and creating a new TIF area, we get to restart that clock for 25 years, and that'll extend that window that we can use those funds to help better match the bond repayment schedule. So it does not, it changes nobody's tax bill, it changes no rates, it changes nothing other than extending that, allowing us to extend that window before the tax increment finance area sunsets by that additional 9 years. So as Jordan indicated, this is step 3 of a 4-step process. If we're fortunate enough to get commissioner's approval, the redevelopment commission will meet on the second Friday in November, where we will have a public hearing so that anyone that wants to share an opinion or thought, have a question for the redevelopment commission can speak. If it's approved at that time, then that new district would be created and the 25-year new clock would be set.
Good.
Thank you, Al.
Yep. Again, remember the TIF district doesn't change the taxing, it just capitalizes on the increase from the base when it was set. And so, as Al mentioned, I think the most important thing is this resets our new 25-year window and allows us to recoup those funds with the growth that's potentially going to happen out there. So with that, this is resolution 2023-05. I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Motion carries 2-0, and I will note just for the record, I, with Penn, made one amendment. It had the date as October 3rd, and it's October 17th when this was adopted, so rather than having to print the whole thing.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, next item is, I'm going to read. We have ordinance number 2023-07. This is an ordinance establishing a capital asset and procurement and disposal policy for assets of the county. And so this came about for a couple of reasons. One, kind of with the Wildcat Solid Waste District, in their audit with the State Board of Accounts, they showed this deficiency in having a capital asset policy in place and are requiring the Wildcat Solid Waste District to do it. And so we started looking into it, and at the county level, we also didn't have one. So although we haven't been decided to put one in place, when you start looking around and talking to other communities and counties, they have this in place. So it felt like the right time to kind of establish this, and it also helps establish things in terms of record keeping in-house with the auditor's office to allow more consistency. And so I'm not going to read through the whole thing. We've had a chance to review it. Tom has worked diligently at it, but I'll kind of go through some of the high points on it. It cites the statutes in terms of how the policies should work, but the most important and what department heads, and we can send it out so everybody has it, so Terry will send a copy if it's approved. The procurement procedure, the Clinton County Board of Commissioners shall be the purchasing agency. The purchase of machinery, equipment, or services shall be at the sole discretion of the commissioners. The individual departments first must present to the Board of Commissioners their request for purchase of machinery, equipment, services, and if it's approved at that point, then it will go to the council. There's been this confusion over time. Sometimes it comes to us, sometimes it goes to council. This just establishes kind of that pecking order of how it needs to go about it. That just because the commissioners do approve it doesn't mean that the funds will be appropriated by council. That's kind of the second step. And that all contracts binding the county for purchases of machinery, equipment, and services shall be signed and executed by the commissioners. This is ordinance applies to all purchases above $5,000, and any violation may result in said item not being licensed, insured, or claim approved. So those are kind of the, and then the last thing in here is the disposal, that upon and only by prior approval can assets that are listed for the county be disposed of. So.
Well, Mr. President, I've had the opportunity to read through that multiple times at this point. And Mr. Little, I thank you for the effort that you put into it. I think it's well done at this point. So I'll make the motion that we accept the ordinance number 2023-7 establishing capital assets and procedures for disposal policy.
Motion carries 2-0. Next item is we have a sign placement request. Friends of the Frankfort Public Library for their annual art sale and exhibit fundraiser, November 11th through the 12th. And I believe they're looking for it to be out there for 30 days. So October, it'll be less than 30 days since today would be the approval if we do it on October 17th up until November 17th. Let's call.
Motion to approve the Friends of the Frankfort Library location of a sign.
Okay. Motion carries 2-0. All right. Next item is department head reports. Department heads. Want to go? Sure.
I'm just listening to the chatter, keeping the peace there. So, I really don't have anything else. What the commissioners have questions? So
Yeah. So I guess we'll start for the 6 Tahoes.
Yes, sir.
Did you bring the list of proposed recipients and the bill of sale for us?
I can
to
give you the
sign?
list of the recipients. It's the administrative staff, chief deputy, captain, 3 detectives, and Ryan West.
Okay, so if you could just email those.
I
over
will,
for us,
absolutely.
Okay, and
So
then we'll have to sign the paperwork before we can get them.
we're gonna contact Kelly Chevrolet, see if they'll send it down to you. We've said, you know, we watched, we have a new ordinance now, which I'm okay with it, no worries. But prior to that, it was done. Money gets appropriated, we'll find the vehicles, we do our thing, get everything moved around, and then it lands back on your guys' desk. So I'm okay sending that to you, sharing it with you beforehand, and we'll see if Kelly Chevrolet will send all the information down. You guys get your signatures on it, get it approved, whatever the case is, and then we'll ship it back up to work.
Okay. And then so the one we're, I guess, talking about would be the new truck.
Yes.
But I guess I'm a little confused because I know we approved the 6 Tahoes, but I don't remember approving
We
the
had,
truck.
we had 7 vehicles in the budget for 2023. And those 7 vehicles, that truck is a part of the 7. Kelly Chevrolet didn't have the 6 or the 7. And it was, you know, we looked and found one at Allstop, and obviously the removal of the 10 vehicles that were, 7 of them were non-functioning. The ability was there to get that vehicle purchased and traded and moved over to the sheriff's office. And, you know, and as with the new procurement process, understand that. And as far as the previous times, it's your budget for the 7 vehicles, find the 7 vehicles and start the paperwork. Chief deputy would reach out to the insurance, and I understand that. We'll go through you guys on any of the insurance or anything else moving forward and stepping in that direction. So we use the process that's always been there, the process that we used when I was shown when I came in there. So I apologize if that's, and I understand that now.
Yeah, I guess and I would love for you guys to find and show me that, because I can only find where we approved 6, not 7. And I guess that's where I'm a little concerned, because we approved 6 patrol vehicles, not 7 vehicles. So, yeah, we gained 1.
Yes.
The 3-year plan was 9, 9, and 7. That was the 3-year
This
plan.
7 was the last year.
The total of
I don't
25
think that's,
vehicles.
I would love to see that. I don't
Okay.
know if I have that. Because I remember it being, well, it wasn't 9-9 because we added a couple because of the.
That was because the
wrecks.
total vehicle.
Correct. So
Correct.
the plan was never 9, 9, and 7. If we added some because of a wreck, unless you knew the wreck was gonna happen before.
No.
it was gonna happen, how did we have 9, 9, and 7, like, so.
And I think where the loss in translation is we were approved a budgeted amount that was 7 vehicles, and maybe it didn't get to you guys, and I have no idea how or why it didn't. So we'll look at it, we'll look at everything that we have to see where we're at on that portion of it.
Okay, because I guess from an overwhelming issue that we're going to be dealing with, and this kind of falls into that hat, is with the new take-home vehicle policy. I think there's 47 vehicles that are currently insured at your office, and we have it at all the offices, and we're going to go through and based on the new handbook, we have the sole discretion of who has take-home vehicles assigned now. And so we're gonna be going through and making changes to that whole thing, because there's really no reason, in my opinion, that we need to have courthouse security with take-home vehicles, jailers, all these additional people outside of that. So I guess one thing I would ask is, we have 47. To me, that number for vehicles, trailers, motorcycles, everything needs to be around 40 for your department. That's where we got to cut it to. And then we're going to get rid of anything else. That's all that we're going to ensure in terms of assets for the department. And then you propose who you want those assigned to. We'll review it, look at it, and either make changes or go with who those are proposed to be assigned to. Because one thing that has happened, and you may not even be aware of it, but people have told me, and I've witnessed it, is we have security and jail people using county vehicles, going in and working their second job out on the interstate or 28, using a county asset to make side income. And they really shouldn't have the ability to do that with their vehicle. The merit deputies, I completely understand that makes sense. Like if they go work security at Lucas Oil, or I don't even know where they do it anymore, but those options. But the people outside of merit deputies, I just don't believe that's something they should be doing.
Well, I think we're gonna get into the mess of what you feel and what I see. And the special deputies that have the same accreditation of arrest powers, things like that are provided. So I think this will take a lot of discussion, and I'm okay to have that discussion with you to share that back and forth. So, and if that's the case where you stand firm on that, we will get through this. We will figure it out.
I can tell you that I personally was at Walmart a couple Sundays ago, and one of our security officers in shorts and a t-shirt ran into Walmart, and it just so happens my wife and I are walking in. As he come in, he pulled in pretty quick. He parks in a handicap parking, and he runs in. As he ran in, I'm at the door, and I asked, well, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm getting ready to go fishing. In shorts, parking in a handicap, and he runs into Walmart, but yet parking in a handicap, and he's one of our security people who has no authority.
Who's a security person? Courthouse?
We're not gonna say that.
Is it a courthouse person?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are the conversations that you as a commissioner should call me directly.
I know,
Have my
and that's,
number.
at this point,
You should.
I don't need to.
And I'm okay with that, because that's behavior that is not condoned or should be conducted. So without a doubt, let me know so I can have that.
My point is we shouldn't even
To
have
save
that
it up
person
until
do that.
the right moment is something that I'm kind of over.
Okay.
I need to know as soon as those things happen.
Okay.
And I appreciate it. And I will address it. I'll address it with every person that works in that courthouse.
But it should be anybody that parks in a handicap.
Well, I agree.
And I got,
It's actually
and I
violation of
got a
law.
county vehicle
So I wish
parked
you would
there.
have called.
And again.
I wish you would have. I
Yeah.
sure do.
And at the same time, I know we did this ordinance, Mr. President, but regretfully, if you look at the charge of the commissioners, it says the commissioners are the executive branch. And then also under the state guidelines, it says we're the purchasing agents, which means we sign contracts. We didn't need to do this ordinance. It's been that way forever.
Correct.
So, I mean, 4 years ago.
You
we
didn't
should have
give me
been
that
the one.
guidance 4 years ago. That we could have done this 4 years ago. We should have done this 4 years ago if that was the case. And I agree.
But it is.
And I'm
It is
okay
the
with
case.
it. I'm not arguing that point of it, 100% not arguing that point of it. But, just the information that you see, you're a citizen, not only are you elected official, but you're also a citizen. Make that phone call so we can address it immediately. So it's not, that continued behavior doesn't continue.
Yep.
I would love to.
I want to back up to one thing you said. I don't disagree that when you assign a special deputy their powers and they have all those, that they can get a pool car and do the job they need to do.
You're talking about take homes.
Yes, I'm talking about take homes particularly. So, I completely respect that fact and understand.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I guess for me to move forward with the truck at this point, I'm gonna have to see where I said we agreed to 7, because I agreed to 6, and go from there before we'll do anything with it. So if you can show me that, I'll be glad to consider it. But at this point, I honestly have no interest in approving it. So that's where I'm at with it. unless Commissioner Weaver is different.
Agree.
I think it's, quite frankly, I don't think it's necessary. So, and kind of no different than the group from Rossville that came and spoke about their solar. I listened to theirs, and I got a lot of calls from people that just don't think we need this truck. And so I'm gonna listen to my constituents for now, and that's kind of my position.
Okay.
So, okay. Any other department heads? Morning, Rodney.
Just wanted to bring back around after our earlier discussions about a job description approval for a STI, STD, part-time individual. I brought copies. I know Cecily and I put them back and forth a couple times.
Yep.
I don't know if they actually got to you.
Yeah, they did. I reviewed
I've seen it.
I know your HR folks looked it over. So we wordsmithed it to death, so.
Okay.
I've got her still on contractual in the interim, but I'm about out of contractual money, and Britt's gonna be spanking me on that here shortly, so.
Okay. I had no issues. I assume everyone, Britt, do you have any background with your HR, talking to HR and Cecily that this is sufficient? Okay.
Yes.
It was good with me, so
Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
I'll have, hopefully before the end of the year, hopefully in the next month or so, to really new one for 2024, so that you have plenty of time to look at them for that new budget. So that, because I'm supposed to post and advertise that in 30 days for any new jobs that would come out of that new money. I want to make sure we have a timeline to get those, so I promise to try to get those to you here soon.
Okay.
Motion to accept.
All right, motion carries 2-0 on the SDT/I clinic coordinator on a part-time basis for the Board of Health.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Anyone else? All right, move on to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Weaver.
Really, one thing is obviously we already spoke about it with the Humane Society and the struggles and the issues there. We're still obviously working very hard to get it done. I do have the agreement so that it gets Mr. Little to simply change the old lease agreement on the property that expired 2 years ago. And outside of changing dates and a few minor things, I'll get that to you shortly. And that's really the only major thing that I have.
Okay. I do not have anything to do. We've covered a lot already. So I will move on to claims. We have claims dated October 13th in the amount of $14,334.72. Bi-weekly claims dated October 17th in the amount of $1,566,641.48. And then court claims dated October 17th in the amount of $12,798.19.
Motion to approve claims.
Okay, motion
Time
carries.
out. There is a check in there for this truck.
Yeah, let me,
Oh, okay,
I'll
okay.
handle it, just
Okay.
wait. So we have a motion for those three claims, carries 2-0. We have a claim for Allsop Chevrolet for in the amount of $19,103.20. I think we've established that, so we'll table it. Let's just motion to table it. So
that way, just time.
So
I motion to approve the tabling.
Table, okay, so 2-0 to table that for now. Do we have payroll?
No, because
No payroll?
we're kind of,
We did.
yes, yes,
Okay,
we're off.
we're off. All right. So the next is we have minutes from our regular meeting on September 18th, and we have special meeting minutes on October 6th, and then to be approved.
Motion to approve both.
All right, motion carries 2-0. And lastly, our next meeting will be November 6th. It'll be right here again. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank you.